Hello, dear soul family. Welcome to the Meditation Mama podcast. I'm your host, Lyndsey, mama to 3 highly sensitive and intuitive children, and founder of the Meditation Mama Company. On this show, we talk about spirituality, parenting, motherhood, personal growth, intuition, and shifting old paradigms so that you can live your most authentic, soul-aligned life. Each month, I also release special guided meditations that open your heart, expand your consciousness, and soothe your nervous system. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode is a mini episode all about human design. Now, if you listened to last week's episode with Hannah of Birthing My Being, you know that a huge part of what she does for her career is human design chart readings. That is actually how I met Hannah, because a friend of mine recommended her to me. She said it was the most incredible human design reading, and I just had to do it. And I did. And she has just a really beautiful, simple way of breaking down what can feel like a very complex, complicated chart. If you have never heard of human design, this is essentially your blueprint for this life. Your human design chart shows you really who you truly are and who you're meant to become, and how to use your energy type to create your most fulfilling, happiest life. It can tell you things like how your energy functions best, your overall purpose, your life theme, your gifts, your talents, and even things like the way you're personally designed to manifest, make decisions. It even touches on your digestion and what kind of environment you'll thrive in. It's just absolutely fascinating. It's like this incredible cheat sheet to living your highest and best life. And human design is really catching fire these last few years, and it's becoming mainstream. It feels like the next astrology, which it's actually such an amazing complement to astrology, in my opinion. I would have loved to have this information for myself when I was younger, because when I had my first human design reading, it really reconfirmed so many things that I knew deep down and just helped me better understand myself. And it really gave me permission in so many ways, because there are things that I used to almost get upset at myself for, like, why do I need so much alone time? Why do I go in these waves where I have so much energy and then I just need to crash hard for a few days? And I would compare myself to other people. I know now that it's because I'm a 6'2" manifester, and that means I require energetically deep rest and recharge periods alone so that I can then get that burst of energy that follows. And my energy, like I said, it flows in waves. It's not consistent. So now I know when I'm in a high energy period, I need to take full advantage of that. And when I feel a rest period coming on, I really have to honor that, or I will completely burn out, which is quite different from, say, my husband, he's also a 6'2", so he needs his alone time as well, but he's a generator, and generators have consistent energy, so he can just go, go, go all day long. So I really feel like knowing your human design chart is just such a beautiful gift, not only to understand yourself, but also to better understand your partner and your children. And even if you don't go deep into your children's human design charts and learning all their gifts and things like that, which, that can always come later, it's so great to know the basics. So even just knowing those numbers that go before the energy type. So like I said, I'm a 6'2". So the 6 line, I'm very much meant to be a guide and a teacher. And the 2 line is the hermit. So I really need alone time. 3 of the 5 of us in the house are 6'2s. So we really get that. And then Hudson, he's completely different. He's a 3'5". So that 5 line means that he is quite literally meant to experiment, try, fail, try again, and just push his own limits and boundaries. he is always saying, what can I climb? What can I create? Tinkering around, making new inventions. And it's really good for me to know that as a parent, that he is going to really just experiment and kind of push his boundaries and challenge himself. And that's where a lot of his pride is going to come from. And he's living his design by doing that. So, anyways, I could go on and on about my children's charts and my family's charts and how they interact together. This is something that I personally revisit often, especially as they're getting older. And I can't wait to share it with them one day. I'm so excited that they have this because, like I said, I really wish I had this when I was younger. It would have just helped me understand myself on such a deeper level. So let's get right into this mini episode, part 2, with Hannah of Birthing My Being.
Yeah.
Was it always going to be human design? When did you get into the human design aspect of your
Mm,
business and of for yourself?
mm,
Because I didn't really start hearing about human design until maybe like 3 years ago. It started getting really popular, and I was like, I've got to
mm.
look into this. But it seems like it just kind of came out of nowhere and people are obsessed, but I know it's been around for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. So originally, yeah, birthing my being just came to me as a vision of like supporting myself and also other people in becoming who you are and really connecting to yourself on that authentic, on that soul level, and helping you clear the blocks that are stuck in the way, the stories, the pains, the identities, even, and getting really reconnected to that pure light and that pure force. And so I didn't even know about human design when all of this came to me, and until my daughter was 4, actually. So COVID, it really blew up, and I feel like that's around the same time that you were describing. And so when I originally, my whole vision with everything was to support people in that, whether that's yoga or meditation or nutrition or just ways to access the true you, right? And then human design came to me about 4 years ago. And at the time, I just saw the chart and I was like, huh, people usually have some kind of feeling of like, that's interesting, or I wonder what that is. And I put it down at the time. I was just like, I don't know what any of this means. It looks like a foreign language to me. This is like really a strange diagram. And then like a year later, a friend came to me and was like, have you heard of human design? And I was like, that's so funny because I have. And then I kind of spiraled into the whole studying of it. And I was like, this is amazing. And obviously the whole concept and the whole system of understanding your energy blueprint and how you operate on an energetic level, it just felt so in line with birthing my being and my whole just vision with all of that. And I, just really dove into it and have been have seen it as such a companion and a tool along the way. And I love watching people reconnect to the way that their energy is designed, because it's again that beautiful process of healing and awakening. And wow, a lot of people say, I wish I would have known this 10 years ago or whatever. And it's like, trust when it found you, because there's a reason it found you when it did, and that you've experienced everything that led you up till that moment too. So
That's exactly how I felt, though. I said,
yeah.
I wish I had had this as a
Yeah.
teenager. It would have really,
Right.
I mean, I feel like it would have helped me. Maybe my ego would have not accepted it. But as a manifester, and I'm a 6-2 manifester for anyone listening who knows what that is. So I go in these waves where it feels like infinite energy. And I
Mm-hmm.
am just in my creative zone and I can do a million things in one day, and I'm like, go, 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 go. And then all of a sudden, the next day or the next week, the next month, I hit a downturn. And if I don't rest, I mean, I might start having like stomach issues. Like it will hit me so hard if I don't rest. And that's the 2 line, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just that kind of up and down energy. And that's also very manifester. And I've always been the type to go against the grain and rebel a little bit. Somebody will tell
Mm-hmm.
me to do something a certain way. And I'm like, I'm just going to do it my own way. And that's also very manifestor. So all these things, I'm like, had I known that when I was
Right.
younger, it just everything would have clicked. I didn't learn this till my, mid 30s. But
Mm-hmm.
for anyone who's not well versed in human design, I want you to share what could people look for? Like say they Googled their chart online, and I know they can do it on your website, Birthing My Being. What are some things they could look at before getting a human design reading to better
Mm-hmm.
understand themselves and especially their children? Because this is such a game changer for understanding your children. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like life changing.
Yes, it's very, very life changing. So I would say the top three things I would look at for yourself and also for your kids and mothering and just creating more ease and spaciousness for that whole experience. I would say one, your energy type. And this is really how you navigate the world and how your energy is designed to flow and operate. And like you were just describing of the manifestor qualities, and it has a lot to do with the way in which you're designed to create as well. And operate in the world. So for some people, it's very much they are more designed to be the quote unquote workers of the world. That would be your generators and your manifesting generators who have a different level of like sustainable energy than those with open sacrals. I know this gets into all the human design lingo, but I feel like understanding your energy type, not only for yourself, but also for your kids, is going to support you and seeing how like just seeing how they're navigating life. And if you have a child who is a projector, I guess I should pause and talk about the five energy types. Let me do that.
Yeah, yeah, that would be great.
Okay, so there are five energy types. There are the projectors and the manifestors and the reflectors, which all are open sacral beings. And these are people who are really not going to feel like they fit into the 9 to 5, Monday through Friday kind of grind. And they also, each of them have their unique gifts and their unique strengths. And when we understand that about our kids, it supports so much too. And oh, maybe this school isn't going to feel right for them. Maybe this isn't going to feel right for them. Maybe I shouldn't worry if they're laying on the couch and they're wanting to chill and do absolutely nothing because that's actually correct for them. Rather than, oh my God, why don't you want to do your homework? Why aren't you doing this? Like, we're so conditioned into this mode of like, this is what it means to work. This is what it means to rest. And so human design really shatters all of that and says, learn how you're designed on an energetic level. So those are the three open sacral beings. And then we also have our manifesting generators and our generators. And I feel like start with your energy type because, again, that's going to tell you most people have this amazing click of like, wow, I feel really validated for why I've wanted to navigate my life this way, but I've always felt like I couldn't, so much permission opens up, I think. And then the next thing oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have two projector children and one manifesting generator. I'm a
Hmm.
manifester and my husband is a generator. So he just goes, 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 doesn't stop all
Right.
day. It's just completely different. And my two projector children, the older two, Hudson and Kenzie, I had to tell him once I learned about human design, look, they, like you said, they are not designed to go, go, go. They have about
Hmm.
3 hours and then they need a really solid break, or they will have a huge tantrum. They will crash really hard. They can't physically handle it. And then my
Hmm.
little manifesting generator came along and she's just like buzzing around. I mean, she's 2.5. She's really not napping anymore. I mean, she's a total powerhouse. She's the one at the end of the day. My projector kids are sitting on the couch, just like, we need to relax. And she's trying to wrestle them. And they're like, Coco,
Right.
get off. And it's
Yeah.
7 p.m. She's like, I'm not tired. It's
Hmm.
incredible. And once you understand that, I mean, you physically see the difference. Like you said, everything clicks.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
besides energy type, what would be like the next, say, like 2 or 3 things that you think people just top line should look into? Because you really need a full reading to completely
Mm-hmm.
understand your chart. I tried to do it on my own, and
Mm-hmm.
there's so many nuances. It's
Yeah.
just, you got to be an expert.
Yeah. So I would say, yeah, looking into your energy type and with that, your strategy and authority. Like to me, I just tie that all together. Um, that's why you'll see on your chart uh, emotional generator or splenic projector. That's like, I just put that under one bucket. But I feel like for parenting and kids and also for yourself, they're understanding your child's profile is super important because in a way that's like their learning style. Like some kids are designed to really explore, experiment. They're gonna learn through trial and error. They're gonna want to try everything. And other kids, like you mentioned, your second line profile, they have a built-in need of alone time, of integration time. And again, these are just not things that like we're born thinking about. But when you start to see it in your kid and you see these patterns and um, other children need really deep, like they're going to ask a million questions. They find safety through researching and investigating. That's my daughter. She's a 1-3, so she has her explorer tendencies, and then she has her I need to ask you a million questions. Thankfully, as her mom, I get that now, and I'm like, oh, you're just trying to find your own safety, right? But I feel like just looking at the profile and learning that element will just tell you so much as a parent to also really support your kid that you're raising. So, and then lastly, um, I would look at the centers, which are all of the shapes that you'll see on the chart. You'll notice some of them are colored in and some of them are white or open. Um, and this starts to tell you more about the definition and openness of a chart, which is going to tell you so much about what you and your kids are picking up from the world around you versus what you are like radiating out into the world. And that's specifically important for parenting dynamics because the open and defined centers play off of each other. So I'll give you an example. I have a open solar emotional solar plexus. My daughter has a defined emotional solar plexus. And so me with my open emotional solar plexus, I'm amplifying her energy. And that can create a lot of like, whoa, 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 because it's almost it just like blows up the emotional energy of your environment. And so I'm feeling also her feelings. I'm feeling what she's feeling. And as a parent, we have to learn how to, okay, feel that, but also draw the line, and also know that it might feel more intense for me as the mom, the emotional energy, but I know that so I can regulate, or I know to like go into times of tiredness or crying or tantrums or whatever with that awareness. And that goes for any configuration. And so when you look at your chart and your child's chart, you can start to see, oh, this is interesting. This is the pattern here. And that's also where we receive our conditioning. So if you have um, a another example is like with the identity center or the G center, and if you have a child with an open identity center, which is right there smack dab in the middle, and that's my daughter, they are going to have a very fluid sense of their expression, and they're going to be like they might have a lot of different types of friends or relate to a lot of different type of people, and they also might take on the energy of other people and say, oh, that's me now, and for me, my daughter has it open. I have it defined, very defined. And so she's always amplifying my identity or who I'm being, right? Which is it goes even deeper when you start to think of that on like a soul level of like, oh, wow, like, that's interesting. You see the patterns of the charts and what the dynamics are. And I think that's so vital in supporting supporting your child's just upbringing so that they're not being conditioned away from their own blueprint.
I love that you just mentioned the identity center because I kid you not, I just looked at this last week for my whole family. because I was
Okay.
thinking, I wonder, because somebody mentioned that to me and I said, mine's open. And so I've
Mm-hmm.
always felt like, just like you said, I can
Mm-hmm.
relate to anybody. I can find a piece of myself in anyone. But I
Yeah.
also, more when I was a child and as a teenager, probably my 20s too, I had a really hard time with being a chameleon. It was like you said, I
Mhm.
would really take on the personality or take on the traits of whoever I was with. And it really, really affected me and probably caused a bit of an identity crisis when I was younger. I never quite felt like I knew who I was. But now
Mhm.
I know for me well, I just turned 40. Now
Mhm.
I feel like it just means that I'm continuously transforming and I love it. I don't mind that at all. I know I'm not the same person
Yeah.
every 6 months to a year. But I was looking at this for my kids and I realized my oldest and youngest, they both have open centers and my
Mhm.
middle has a closed identity center and I'm like, okay, that's really good to know for the future because as they're hanging out with their friends and their friends have more influence, I think it's that much more important to ensure
Mhm.
that they're with, the right type of people who are going to build them up and be like kind, gentle souls in the world. So
Yeah.
I love that you just brought that up.
Mhm.
I was thinking too, I want to print out my whole family's charts and just sit them next to each other because I always look at them individually. I was also just thinking this would be incredible for dating. Anyone that
Yeah.
doesn't have a partner, I feel like this needs to be a whole app in and of itself. This could be a whole
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because it you see so much of the dynamics, and also to go even deeper into that, all the lines on the chart, those are gates. And then when there's two that connect, that's a channel. And so when you connect different gates together, that creates a channel. So for you, you might have half of a channel and your child might have the other half. That creates an electromagnetic, which creates a whole theme that's being played out there in your relationship, and also, like you said, for your family or just any partnership. And so you learn so much in terms of how to, really navigate and understand what's happening on, like, in terms of even just fighting, right? Or emotional outbursts with kids, or knowing how to serve their energy needs. That's why I feel like looking into energy type profile, and then just the center configuration like you're talking about, um, you'll just learn so much, so much.
Yeah. Well, and I know in our reading too, it does get really complicated, but you have a really beautiful way of simplifying it all. Because I have books on it,
Yeah.
but it's different when you
Right.
have someone just explaining everything to you in a really simple, matter of fact way. And because you have seen so many people's charts that you can give different examples and really just bring that
Mhm.
like personal touch to it. So I'm thinking
Mhm.
too, I need to review our reading, I think.
Yes. Be so good.
So, yeah. So, where can the listeners find you to book a
Mhm.
reading or connect? And what are all of your current offerings?
Yeah. So my website is birthingmybeing.com. And that I also have a place for you to run your human design chart for free. If you're like, ooh, I want to look at my daughter or my son or my partner or whoever, you can run a chart for free on my website. And I also have all my services there of booking a human design reading. And then I also have a few classes that I have been recently opening up. And that's just an additional space for you to deepen your connection to your chart and your vision and your purpose. And also support for mothers and moms who are on their path of, who am I? Who am I as a mom? Who am I as an individual? Just all of those lovely, beautiful questions. So that is all there on my website.
Perfect. I highly recommend. Thank you so much for being Hannah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Hold on. Thank you so much for being here, Hannah. I'm getting tongue-tied over here.
that's
This was
okay.
absolutely lovely. It was so good having you.
Thank you, Lyndsey. I loved being here today.
All right, we'll see you next time. So with that being said, thank you so much for listening to the Meditation Mama podcast. Your support means the world to me, so if you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, subscribe, and share with a loved one. Check out my meditations and all of my offerings at themeditationmama.com and sign up for my newsletter and you will receive 2 free meditations. I would also love to hear from you, so send me a message on my Instagram at _meditationmama or an email on my website. See you next time.